going on? I figured I'd make a video talking about weight gain for guys who are really skinny, like malnourished, trying to figure out how to kind of start their fitness journey. Um, and the reason I'm making this, I just want to make a quick disclaimer and say that I'm not an expert on fitness or know really anything to do with nutrition and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't track my meals or my macros or anything like that. I'm just kind of giving a point of view or my own story of how I kind of overcame a lot of health issues that I had, because I feel like a lot of the information that's out there, guys will go to YouTube or to forums to say, how do I gain weight, and it will be from these guys who have been doing it for a decade, and they're enormous. They've got like enormous muscles, and I think that a lot of the time, like, you can see someone like that and you feel far too different and disconnected from them to actually take on or even believe that you can actually get to the point where they're at. So for me, like, and in saying this as well, like, I'm still trying to gain weight. It's something that I'm consistently working toward every single day. But just to give you a bit of a backstory, when I was, I think, 10 years old, so I grew up with heaps of allergies. I was allergic to everything. And at the age of 10, basically, I got put on this very strict diet where I wasn't allowed to eat dairy or gluten, like wheat, artificial flavoring. It was just the most bland diet of all time, and nothing tasted good back then. And it essentially just made me not interested in eating, basically. And so I just never ate properly, essentially. And growing up, I was always wondering why I was so skinny, because I'm 6'2", so I was always like growing a lot. And it's funny, like, sometimes the most harmful things that can be said to you can be said in a very, like, positive manner, because a lot of people said, it's just how you are, it's just in your genetics, you've just got a thin bone structure, it's just this, it's just that, when you turn 40 you'll gain weight, you can't stop it. Like, all this just brainwashing bullshit, where I was just given lots and lots of excuses as to why I was out of control of my situation. And I believed it. I was like, I'm just different to everyone else, I'm just skinny, it's just how it is, I can't do anything about it. All these guys are just bodybuilders and stuff, they just have different genetics, they're born differently, yada yada yada. And you become brainwashed into believing that you can't actually change your circumstances. But but it got to the point where I was 25 years old, and I was 6'2", and I was about fucking 55 kilos or less. That's like almost anorexic, pretty much. That's so significantly underweight, it's not even funny. And I just got to this point. This is when I was kind of going through a bit of a turning point in my life, where I was just sick of this shit. I was like, this is bullshit, man. Like, why the fuck am I so skinny? Why are all my friends completely different to me? Like, I just felt so weak and so, like, insecure all the time about how I looked. And I was like, no, I need to find a way to change this. And like, the thing is that, like, I tried going to the gym multiple times throughout my life, but it was just never enjoyable, and I didn't really ever make the progress I wanted to, because having no muscle on you and getting the wrong advice and trying to do shit yourself, it just never equated to what I was after. But the thing that I would recommend to everyone, the thing that changed everything for me, was, rather than going to the gym and lifting weights, I actually ended up taking up martial arts instead. And the moment I took up martial arts rather than weightlifting, all of a sudden the exercise was enjoyable and fun for me. And so I was doing a lot of Muay Thai, I was doing a lot of Jiu-Jitsu, I was doing a lot of boxing as well. And what comes with that is a lot of cardiovascular workouts. So there's a lot of push-ups, a lot of squats, a lot of sit-ups, a lot of core related stuff. And I was also learning how to use my body too. And through doing this, it was a lot more exciting, and I actually felt the desire to go in there and continue to work on myself, and I was becoming a lot more comfortable with how I could navigate in my environment just in general. So I think that's one thing that can really help, is finding the kind of exercise that gravitates towards you. For a lot of you, it might be weightlifting. I've seen heaps of guys go for weightlifting and it works perfectly for them. But this could be anything, man. Like it could even be like rock climbing if you want to go rock climbing. It could be martial arts. It could be fucking dance if you wanted it to be. Like it can be anything, but just find a physical exercise that you are enthusiastic about. That's the first bit. And I was really unhealthy at the time as well. I like at this point, I was living on my own. I just kind of threw that whole diet thing out of the window, but I was just living off just shit, man. I was drinking like 2 liters of Mountain Dew a day. I was just like, I'd sit around and play like fucking Overwatch and League of Legends and shit. Just constantly eating fried foods like McDonald's, KFC, fish and chips, just fucking garbage, like nothing of any nutritional value. And it was one of these things, and it's kind of, there's a holy trinity of things that you need to do. And the three of them are, you need to sleep well, you need to eat well, and you need to exercise. And they're all kind of things that will begin to put into motion once you start working on each of them. And so with the exercise, that's kind of what got me there, because I started exercising, and because I was exercising, I was expending all of my energy throughout the day. So then I was actually tired at night. I wasn't staying up till midnight and watching TV and stuff. I was like, okay, my body actually needs to rest now. So I was going to bed at a reasonable hour, which means I was getting like a proper amount of sleep. So I always typically aim for 7 or 8 hours. Some people can do less, but for me, I need that much. But then, I was getting up at a good hour in the morning, and then getting up at a good hour in the morning, I felt a lot more refreshed. I felt a lot more productive. I was getting a lot more done with my day. And as you continue to follow this exercise route, your body will then, it will actually begin to, I guess, like reject unhealthy foods. Like it got to the point where, I started realizing, or mucking around, I was like, all right, I'm going to start like cooking some food. So I started cooking some chicken, I started cooking steaks, started cooking vegetables, and just learning how to cook really. And, I'd cook one night and the next day I'd feel absolutely magnificent. And I knew that the days where, it's common sense that good food will make you feel good, but sometimes you actually have to experience it to really understand the difference between it all. So eating properly, all of a sudden I had this energy that I wanted, and I was drinking a lot more water, I was eating a lot healthier, and I was eating proper meals rather than snacking throughout the day. Because that was the main other thing. Like a lot of you, it's easy just to eat throughout the day and just snack whenever you're hungry. But if you're actually like getting up in the morning, consuming a good breakfast, for me, I'll eat like Wheat Bix and banana and sultanas and stuff like that. Or at the time, I think I was having muesli with like frozen blueberries and all this kind of stuff. But I was actually eating like a really healthy breakfast first thing in the morning. I was having like a protein shake. I was preparing good meals for lunch, and then I was having like a really good healthy meal for dinner. And once I started doing this, my body was able to regenerate the energy that was required to push myself further to exercise more. And through that exercise, I was able to use all that energy in a healthy way, which meant I was sleeping correctly. I wasn't up all night. I was actually like getting deep rest and waking up feeling enthusiastic in the morning with a lot of energy. So it's all three of those kinds of things. But for me, as I said, I started taking up martial arts, I started learning how to cook, and I started sleeping better. And from there, every time, I'd go and have soft drink or something. We call it soft drink in Australia. I'm talking about soda. So I'd have like a Mountain Dew, and my body would it would not want the sugar, because all of a sudden it was used to having natural sugars from fruits. So if you continue to kind of keep going at it, your body will naturally start gravitating toward the healthier foods. You'll save money in the long run. You won't feel the need to eat all this garbage all the time, and you'll feel a lot better. So that's what happened for me. And then from there, it's just a case of really just eating healthily. Personally, I'm a tree surgeon for work, so I climb trees all day. It's difficult for me to consume enormous amounts of food throughout the day because I'm constantly like climbing trees and doing heavy work. So for me, it's a bit different when it comes to diet. Like that's why I don't really count all my macros and everything. I mean, it's a pretty shit excuse, but um, I'm just very busy, and it's not necessarily something that I worry about. All I know is that I eat healthily, I eat a lot of protein, and because of that, I have the energy that's required to perform the way that I wish to perform. But at the end of the day, like if you're not ready to fully delve into, like taking the nutrition side of things, like wrapping your head around the whole thing and having a full routine and all that kind of stuff, like it's all right just to do the basics, and the basics are like making sure that you are eating healthy. As long as you're eating healthy, you're not going to be going backwards. As long as you're eating like good nutritionally dense meals for dinner, at least having a good breakfast, having good lunches as well, consuming fruit, consuming vegetables, all of that kind of stuff. As long as you're doing that, you're not going to be going backwards. And as long as you're exercising as well, you're not going to be going backwards. So it's good to just start developing these routines where you are doing a healthy thing, because that's what matters. It's more the routine that is important toward making these gains, because you're not going to change your body just overnight. It takes a fair bit of time. I mean, I think 2.5-3 years into my kind of fitness journey, and I'm much more happy where I am now. Like it's taken a long time for me, and I still struggle to gain weight, but it's something that slowly over time is working for me. And you just have to remember that you're always a work in progress. You are going to have days or weeks where you can't be bothered doing what you want to do. You are going to have setbacks. Things are going to go wrong, but as long as you make sure to eat well, do exercise, and still like sleep well, you're always going to make improvements, and that's the main thing, that you're just improving. So yeah, that's my story. I hope that maybe some of you guys can relate, because it's difficult for me to relate to people who are overweight because I've never been overweight. I've come from the other side of the spectrum, but I'm sure the same principles apply. But either way, I hope that helps. Take it easy, and yeah, get strong and healthy. It's good.